Thank you and welcome to the show today. The topic this morning is the Africana Studies Department at Tennessee State University. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the Africana Studies Department at Tennessee State University, the founder of the Africana Studies program at Tennessee State University, Dr. AAl-Hadid. And of course with Dr. AAl-Hadid is his son, and he will introduce his son after Dr. Hussein Yafur introduced himself, and then we'll later talk about the Africana Studies Department at Tennessee State University. And of course, Dr. AAl-Hadid, let's start off with you by having you to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of your experiences. And when you finish that, to say something about this nice, handsome young man who's sitting between you and Dr. Yafur, and then Dr. Yafur will give us some information about his background and et cetera. And then by that time, we should be through with this first segment, and then we'll have an opportunity to talk to the two of you in reference to the Africana Studies Department. But let's start off with you,
Okay.
Dr.
Yeah, well, good morning, Dr. Haney. Thank you for inviting us out to be able to tell our audience again about the Africana Studies Department. As you know, I am the founder of the department and served as its head for 14 years. And I retired in 2008. So I served a total of 35 years at Tennessee State University. Most of it was in the sociology department. And so we developed a very strong program. Included Arabic language, Kiswahili, Yoruba. We had a very strong core curriculum, including the introductory courses. So we thought it was very appropriate that we developed this department. So I'm going to give Dr. Yafur a little more time to speak, and I'd like to introduce my namesake, Yasin Amiri Al-Hadid. He's a 5th grader, and I'm trying to get him introduced into my religion, which is Islam, and also into Africana Studies. His mother is from Kenya, so he has birthrights.
Very good. And of course, Dr. Hussein Yafur, let's talk about your background and some of the information that brought you eventually to us this morning.
Well, thank you, Dr. Haney. Good morning again. And I came to Tennessee State University in 1995. I was invited by Dr. Al-Hadid to come to Nashville, and I was interviewed by him and by Dr. Rabbit, at the time the Dean of Arts and Sciences. I was offered the job, and I came in 1995. And then when Dr. Al-Hadid retired in 2008, I became the interim department head, and I'm still the interim department head.
Dr. Al-Hadid, I think I'm familiar with all of the struggles that must have gone on before the establishment of the Africana Studies program, and that was before the department itself. So let's start off at the very, very beginning in reference to making some statements in reference to how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, well, I think what we have to start with is the question of what is a historically black college. When I came from California, after having completed my doctorate degree, I came to Tennessee State University. I just assumed that there would be a serious and conscientious effort to teach students, colleagues, and the community about this rich culture and civilization of Africa and peoples of African descent in the diaspora. But as it turned out, there was some misunderstanding about that, in the sense that at Tennessee State, they just simply assumed that simply because the campus was predominantly African American, that there was something black or African American or African going on. And as Carter G. Wilson pointed out to us, that when these colleges were created, we have 117 HBCUs, they were basically set up as white schools for Negroes, as reflected in the curriculum. So we took the attitude that we need to at least have a space in the curriculum so our story could be told. Our story is a very rich story, and most times people just talk about our experience in the West or our experiences in America. They rarely talk about what happened in ancient Egypt, what happened with the Sudanic empires of West Africa. They don't talk about ancient Ethiopia. I mean, we are very old people, so we had a civilization thousands of years before Greece and Rome, and that story is not told in the academy, and we want to try to create a space in order to tell that story. And as it turned out, when we developed the department, believe it or not, our first student to sign up was a white student. And oftentimes they thought, well, maybe create this Africana Studies department, it would be a flag or a symbol that would not encourage white students to come to school. But to the contrary, we have just graduated a white student, so it is a human science. It's a human discussion that's going on with Africana Studies.
Very good. And of course, Dr. Wasim, when we come back during the second segment, we'll give you an opportunity, because we're just about out of time for this first segment. We'll give you an opportunity to talk about your background in education. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.